last night I didn't put up a video because I didn't quite know how to handle it, because one of the memories that has been churning in my head that just came back is something I probably should have done in the amends section, when I put up those 100 amends. And so I'll decide to label it and clump it all in under the guise of how subtle bullying is and unrealized it becomes. There was a girl, I think, I don't know, 4th or 5th grade. I don't remember when it was. Don't remember her name. Don't remember anything about her other than the fact that she was deaf. So it was an inclusive classroom. She was deaf. And, there was a part, I guess she needed to go to the bathroom and she couldn't. I don't know why. I don't remember the details. I don't know to what extent I was personally involved, in the sense of whether I just observed it and watched everybody around, where half the people were nice and the other half were making fun. I don't truly remember which side I was on. I'm gonna err on the side of being a jerky asshole and say that I probably joined in the chant, possibly with the other grouping. I think I'm gonna err on that rather than make myself. I'd rather err on that and make myself out there, and then maybe one of my friends remembers this and says, "Oh no, you were standing up," or maybe I was just even neutral, right? Because inaction might be just as shitty. And so she ended up having a number one kind of occur. Probably very embarrassing. I mean, we're all, I remember, and just the idea that there was no empathy, very, no sympathy. Maybe I do. I mean, it was split. I think maybe it was split 3 ways. Empathy, sociopathic non-empathy, and then in the middle of it all, people that don't say anything, right? And they're neutral. Maybe I was that. Is that just as bad? I don't know. I'm not putting a morality on it. But that definitely deserves an amend. And then I remember, growing up, and because I was thinking about, the more I go back, I went back to Israel to visit friends and family and things like that. There's always, there was the quintessential, there was a kid on the corner where I was growing up whose parents owned the corner store. And the kid was, I think he was I think mentally handicapped, or there was some kind of cognitive issue. He had a cleft palate, maybe some facial deformity or whatever it is. But of course, he's going to be the target for all the kids in the neighborhood, because kids are shitty human beings, raised by shitty human beings, just to perpetuate shitty fucking behaviors. And that came up in my mind. And it's not that it was never there. I mean, it's probably they were way, way, way back in the back burner. But it is just that, the idea of, why you're raised. I mean, and then we do things to other people, whether it's, some kind of, whether it's a facial deformity, or whether it's glasses, or whether it's obesity, or whether it's anorexia, or whatever the fuck it is. Kids just find let me play whack-a-mole and see what fucks with that particular person. I'm going to learn it. I don't think I do that. I think I just was one of the kids that followed suit of, if somebody found something that fucked with somebody, I think I just either didn't stop it, maybe laughed along with it, which is just as shitty. I mean, and laughing along, I mean, sometimes you can't, I don't know, it's fucking funny. It's like when a comedian's on stage burns somebody that never asked to be burned. It's just they're just out there in the crowd. They're not even heckling. They're just, hey, hello, sir. And you laugh because it's funny. So you need to laugh at yourself. But if you're not taught to laugh at yourself, then it can go really, really badly. And I don't know to what extent people just hold on to those memories from that perspective. Because I certainly know when people laughed at me, and I mean, I remember that. and even just stupid things. Like I definitely remember 5th grade, there was I think it was 5th grade, some kind of, everybody was going to do like a news current events. It was like a faux kind of newscasters where we were all sitting down and presenting. Somebody was in politics, somebody was doing international news, and we're all, I don't know, a bunch of 10-year-olds doing this stuff. And, and I think for whatever reason I was assigned sports. I don't know why I was assigned sports. I didn't know anything about, U.S. sports, especially not U.S. football. I mean, for me it was soccer. Growing up in Israel, and you come to the States and all the things are different. And I'll never forget this. There was the story about the 49ers. And I don't know why. And I don't know if I was told by a friend of mine and he confused me to say 69ers, but I definitely, or maybe I just, in my own head, said 69ers. I don't know where I would have come up with the 69ers instead of the 49ers. But for whatever reason, that's what I went with. That's shit I fucking remember. 35 stupid years later. And people laughing at me for that. Or making a joke. And if I could have been lighthearted about it, like laugh and the world laughs with you. But if, it's always funny. If it's at one's expense, it plays it. It plays it differently, doesn't it? And if one is unprepared to be laughed at one's expense, then, well, there creates a stress and trauma. Nowadays, I don't give a shit. You could say almost anything to me, and I don't care. I'm like, oh, all right, so you're that person, yeah. Like, it just doesn't matter. Why? Because, I don't know, coping mechanisms, such as, I mean, who knows what lurks in the shadows? Maybe somebody stifles it, laughs it off, and then goes home and drinks into the bottle. Or goes and numbs themselves with drugs. Or just goes hyper arousal the other way, lashing out at everybody angrily. Maybe they just develop a nice little layer of cynicism. Maybe they become proficient at sarcasm, start rolling their eyes at anything and everything, because at least that dismissiveness protects oneself. I mean, we'll see how long that'll last, and then of course you're just, you're latched into the sarcasm, you're latched into the cynicism. You latched into the reactive rolling eyes. You don't even know that you're doing it. I don't even know that I'm doing it sometimes. It's like that. What does that mean? Is it that you don't want to engage? That you're blowing it off? Is that you're dismissing it? Or you can't even just, or is it that I can't even just say, hey man, I'm not having this conversation anymore? Why can't we be direct about it? It is interesting to me when people make fun of anything. And look at, and it relates to our world today. I don't think we ever outgrow middle school politics. We just get bigger, more adult, and play the same stupid fucking games with bigger and more dangerous toys. Whether those toys are physical or whether they're mental and emotional, right? Those are little skill sets and little tools and little jabs and little jolts. And people are just resilient, phrasing things a certain way, playing little sociopolitics with everybody else. Everybody just, I don't know, it's interesting, the gleefulness by which people just like the suffering of others or the making fun of others. And it goes both ways. It's just, and what is that, ego? I'm sick and tired of saying them. Well, yeah, it's also you. I mean, unless somebody doesn't make, I've yet to meet somebody that has never made fun of anybody. And when it's confronted, hey, are you making fun of me? Oh, no, I don't mean it that way. Don't take it so much. Don't take it this way. Don't take it that way. Hey, I'm just joking, blah, blah, blah. And that's all fine and dandy. But when you flip the script and they're on the other end, how are they reacting? Especially when I'm saying, hey, don't take it so harshly. Rather than being accountable and saying, hey, man, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that offended you. I'll try to refrain. I try to won't do it. Why? Because I value you as a human being. I value you in our dynamic relationship, work relationship, social relationship, whatever that is. I mean, clearly, when anybody else is making fun of anybody else, I mean, either it's in jest, in which case you know the person well enough to know what you can get away with, or you don't fucking know them at all and you don't care, and we're just doing it anyway, right? And we're just doing it. We're just poking, prodding, playing emotional whack-a-mole until we find something. And then once we find it, to the extent of the glee that we have it, I mean, I think people must feel it. But I assume that their consciousness is feeling it, but their awareness is not. Somebody was posting something about cognitive dissonance the other day online, talking about, oh, typical cognitive dissonance of the left. Fucking politics. The irony of it is I've heard the cognitive dissonance argument from the people that I know on the left about the fucking right. The two of them should be in a room fighting it out. Those two pathologies are the exact same things, just ideologically on the opposite side of the spectrum. Put those two in a room, let them fucking fight it out. The rest of us don't even have to watch, or maybe we should watch and make fun of them both. Fucking idiots. Doing the same shit over and over and over again. Middle school, elementary school, for crying out loud. But once we get those mechanisms, those coping mechanisms, that's going to make us feel better. Does it? How temporary is the high? I mean, it only makes us feel better until the next person, right? Until we find that next target, whatever it is. Whether that target is also anonymous. Maybe they're not even in front of us. Maybe we're just looking at the TV and go, that fucking person's an idiot. There you go. You just did it. And they didn't hear you, but it doesn't matter. You just did it. You're making yourself feel better because of the juxtaposition. Just calling them an idiot doesn't say much. Why? Why do you think they're an idiot? Get policy points going. Say, here is where it is. Most people just say, oh, I don't like how they look. I don't like how they sound. Well, ain't that a prejudicial bitch? Good job on that one. But of course, if somebody's prejudiced of you, oh, why? And then people are like, well, hey, God's the only one that'll judge me. Oh my God, really? Good for you. Good for you. So there's no accountability, absolute dismissiveness, absolute deflection, and nothing on the receiving end. And I think about that in childhood. I think about to what extent that behavior still comes up to me today. Being even on the highway, the anonymity of a vehicle. Ah, fucking idiot. Ah, you dumb shit. Nowadays, I try not to do that. I try to just basically look at it and go, oh, you're that person. Whatever that means, that person. No curse words, no insults, no epithets. I don't go epithets anyway, but people do. It's always interesting where the anger goes. The anger, whatever you do in anger or in drunkenness, well, that's where you go. I tend to curse when I'm on my soapbox. So that's my whole thing, but I try not to anymore. Minimizing that. And just saying, okay, you're that person. Okay. Just like I'm this person, whatever this is, to anybody else that's watching. Thank you for listening. Have a pleasant weekend.